Chapter 1, Julie. There's nothing better than finishing the summer with a road trip down the sunny coast with my best friend. I lean back into the passenger seat and let out a loud whoop, enjoying the summer beats blasting from the speakers. From behind the wheel, Aishling glances at me and smiles. "I love this car," I announce loudly, my voice barely heard over the mix of music and wind. "Your parents couldn't have given you a better graduation gift." "Well, they actually offered to let me choose between getting a new car or going on a campaign tour with them. As much as I want to help them, I wanted the car more. Besides, it's not like traveling around the country with them equals any kind of fun. Also, between you and I don't really get why my dad wants to be the governor again. The last time, all he did was complain about the amount of work he had to do," Aishling comments, and shakes her head. She shoots me a wicked smile, promising all kinds of trouble. "I don't know about you, but I prefer to be stranded in the middle of nowhere than to be surrounded by boring old farts." "Careful what you wish for," I warn with a wink. "At least with you, I can be myself. It's exhausting to be their perfect little adopted charity case all the time." I give her a sympathetic look. I'm perfectly capable of relating to absent parents who only spend time with me when it helps their agenda. We turn up the radio when Starships by Nicki Minaj comes on. With all the singing we've been doing, I won't be surprised if we lose our voices. I take a deep breath, ready to rock the best part of the chorus, when suddenly, the song abruptly cuts off. The car jerks back and forth until the engine dies down. Aishling's fingers tighten around the wheel as she struggles to get us off the road safely, but she can't turn it because the system has locked it. We're nearing the sharp right curve, all the while gaining speed thanks to the road downhill. We won't make it. With my left hand, I confirm I'm wearing a seatbelt while holding onto the armrest with the other one. My heart's racing in my chest, beads of sweat gathering on my forehead. Tearing my eyes off the road, I look at Aishling instead. Even though her brows are furrowed in concentration and her lips pursed together, she still maintains a calm picture of someone that's in control. Without warning, my head forcibly jerks forward. The seatbelt cuts deep into my skin, saving me from crashing into the dashboard. We've stopped. "Fuck!" Aishling curses and slams her palm against the wheel. "What happened?" I ask, a dumbfounded expression on my face. "The fucking car broke down." "No shit," I mutter, relieved we didn't die. Aishling turns to me, ready to snap back, but the anger in her eyes softens when she sees my sorry state. "You look like you've seen a ghost." For a hot second, I thought I was on my way to becoming one. "You're such a drama queen," Aishling chuckles, breaking the tension of our near-death experience. I'm the first to get out of the car and look up at the cloudless sky. The midday sun shines with ruthless force, and now that we're standing still, there's no sign of any wind, not even the smallest hint of breeze. "It's breathtaking," Aishling says, looking at the endless sea. In any other situation, I'd love to take pictures to make my Instagram crowd jealous, but considering that I almost died, I'm not in the right mood. "We'll stop by for a swim," I promise, tugging on the collar of my sweaty shirt that's threatening to suffocate me. "What do we do now?" Aishling asks, her brows furrowing with worry. I plaster a smile on my face and clear my throat. One of us has to be practical, and since she's building up to the panic, I have to put on the big girl pants. "We're going to call the tow service, get the car fixed, and before we know it, we'll be on our way," I say with all the enthusiasm I can muster. It doesn't last long because I find myself muttering under my breath, "Hopefully before we die of thirst and heat." The reality is that we've never been in a situation like this, and it's quite scary to be miles away from anyone we know, being forced to rely on strangers while hoping they won't cut us to pieces. I've been watching way too many horror movies, but I can't ignore how everything about this screams the Texas Chainsaw Massacre or Wrong Turn. "Please let it be Lucas Scott," I mumble, looking up and down the empty road. "What?" Aishling asks, glancing up from the phone. I said, "I'm hoping that whoever's driving the tow truck has Lucas Scott vibes," I reply, purposefully focusing on the hot romance interest from the best TV show ever, instead of mentioning the horror movies that make my skin prickle. "One Tree Hill," Aishling guesses and smiles when I nod in confirmation. Eager to get out of the scorching sun, I grab my phone to speed up the search for the nearest tow service. I got it, Aishling exclaims, dialing a number. The conversation doesn't last long, and before we know it, the truck comes into view. An extremely hot guy, maybe a year or two older than us, steps out of the truck. He takes off his red cap with a black scorpion surrounded by letters L, B, and U. His blonde hair sticks through his forehead, and he runs his fingers through it. Good day, ladies, he greets us with a dazzling smile and takes off his Ray-Ban sunglasses. He raises his brow and lets out a low whistle. Cool wheels. Is that the new Audi A5 convertible? In scuba blue metallic, Aishling confirms proudly. Deadly. So what seems to be the problem? I get lost in his blue eyes, finding myself unable to speak. Aishling elbows me in the ribs, and I shoot her a dirty look. She points at her mouth, and I realize mine has been open. My eyes widen in horror, and I press my lips together, hoping that I wasn't drooling. Aishling's heart's already taken, which means she has no problems communicating with this fine specimen that makes me forget all about yummy Lucas Scott. I don't know what happened, she tells him, her brows furrowing in confusion. 1 minute we were driving and singing, then the next the car jerked a couple of times before shutting down. He nods in acknowledgement and pops up the hood. With his attention on the engine, I use the moment to take in the way his t-shirt sticks to his muscular frame. His eyes narrow at something, but all I can focus on is the way his perfectly sculptured jaw clenches. His facial features relax when he turns back to us. I'm afraid that I'll have to tow it in, he informs us, sounding sincerely sorry to give us the bad news. Aishling buries her face in her hands and shakes her head. This can't be happening. The car's brand new. I step closer to the guy, put my hand on his strong bicep, and smile seductively. I'm sure we're in very capable hands. He tilts his head to the side and flicks his tongue out for the shortest of seconds to wet his lips, before curling them up in a smile. Don't worry, beautiful. I have you covered. My knees wobble from the look he gives me, and I lose my balance, falling straight into his strong arms. His eyes shine with worry as he steadies me and doesn't let go until he's sure I won't fall again. Are you okay? He asks me, holding me against his chest. He tilts his head downward, giving me a clear view of his brilliant blue eyes. His mouth's inches from mine, so close that his breath tickles my cheek. I'm not sure, I lie, keeping my voice low to sound weak while enjoying the closeness. The sun's quite strong today, he says, then looks at Aishling. I'll take you to town to rest while we take care of your car. That'd be great, she agrees from behind me, unfazed by my theatrics. As my best friend, she's used to me making a fool of myself in the name of love. What's my hero's name? I ask, and bat my eyelashes at him, refusing to let Aishling ruin the moment. Gabriel Russo, he replies with an easy smile and moves his arm around my waist, but not in a supporting way. Nice to meet you, I tell him. That's Aishling, and I'm Claire. Pleasure's all mine, he says with an actual bow of his head that makes me swoon. Where exactly are you taking us? Aishling asks when he joins us in his truck after securing her Audi in the back. A couple of miles down the road is a nice little town called Laguna Beach, Gabriel explains. My dad's has a garage there. He'll be able to tell you more about what's troubling your car. Will it take long? Depends on what broke. Not many people drive an Audi in our town, so I doubt we'll have what you need on hand. My estimate is that you might have to wait until tomorrow, he says with an apologetic shrug, then adds, if that's the case, I'll bring you to my friend's B&B. They'll take good care of you there. Aishling groans in desperation, and I put my arm around her shoulder. Believe it or not, today's the best possible day for you to stop in our town, Gabriel says, his voice full of excitement. We're having a massive bonfire on the beach later tonight. It's the party of the year, and you have to go. He gives me a sideway glance when he tells us about the bonfire, and if Aishling hadn't squeezed my hand, I'd ask him to take us without discussing it with her first. Let's talk to your dad, and then we'll see what our options are. Aishling says, and sighs as she looks through the window. I frown, unsure what's her deal. I'll have to talk to her when we have some privacy. This bonfire's exactly what we've been looking for when we started our trip. Yeah, sure. The circumstances aren't ideal, but the universe works in mysterious ways, and I truly believe that this is where we're meant to be. What brings you to our part of the coast? Gabriel asks, keeping his eyes on the declining road with a sparkling blue sea on the left. End of the summer road trip, I say, and he nods as if that explains it. We're starting our first year of college and wanted to have one last hurrah before we hit the books. Gabriel chuckles and fixes his sunglasses. The college isn't that bad. It's actually much better than high school, and being of the drinking age definitely helps. Despite a grin on my face, I give my head a sad shake. I'm afraid that once the training starts, we're off the bottle. Respect, he says with an approving tone, then glances at me. What's your sport? Cheerleading, I reply with a hint of defiance in my voice, daring him to laugh or say that it's not a sport. To my surprise, he lets out a low whistle. Deadly, Nellie, my B&B friend, she's also a cheerleader, and the shit you guys do is hardcore. Thanks, I reply, recognizing the compliment when I hear it. What do you do? I mean, you look like an athlete. Basketball, he says with a smile that tells me how much he loves the game. Our school was also basketball-oriented, Aishling comments, finally joining the conversation. My boyfriend was the captain. It's the best sport there is, Gabriel says with a humble shrug. Are you also a cheerleader? Aishling nods, finally starting to lighten up. For the next few minutes, we share our love for the sport, bragging about our successes and laughing about our failures. Here we are, Gabriel announces as he stops in front of the auto repair shop with big letters the Garuso written on top of it. He climbs out of the truck, gesturing for us to follow him. Are you okay? I ask Aishling, using a moment of privacy. Yeah, she replies, sounding sincere. I'll keep my mind open and for fun. I give her a quick hug, then half push her out of the truck. We approach Gabriel, who's talking to an older version of himself. His dad looks at us, his eyes the same shade of blue as Gabriel's, and his smile just as warm as his son's. Gabriel tells me you're having some car trouble. Kudos for pointing out the obvious, I say, the words escaping me before I can stop myself. My eyes widen, and I cover my mouth, but it's too late. Aishling comes to my rescue and covers my mistake with a polite smile. Please forgive my rude friend. She's been known from time to time to forget her manners. It must be from the hot sun and the shock of getting stranded, Gabriel's dad says, not sounding offended at all. Yes, the sun must have fried the last of her brain cells, my horrible best friend agrees. Hey, I object, not liking the way they're making fun of me. Even Gabriel's grinning, but when he winks at me, I don't mind it anymore. Mr. Russo approaches the hood of the car and exchanges a couple of fancy words with Gabriel. Aishling and I wait patiently until they're finished. I'm afraid I don't have the part you need, Mr. Russo tells us with an apologetic smile. Fuck, Aishling swears under her breath. Don't worry, Mr. Russo adds quickly, the tone of his voice giving us hope. My delivery still hasn't come, and I might be able to add your part to it, which means that I could have your car fixed first thing in the morning. We're going to need a second, I tell Gabriel and his dad, before grabbing Aishling's hand and pulling her a couple of feet away for some privacy. I lean closer and keep my voice low. It's not that bad. We'll go to the bonfire tonight, and by the time we wake up, the car should be ready. That's what our trip's all about. Let's be spontaneous and live in the moment. Aishling narrows her eyes at me, but there's a spark of amusement in them. You just want to hook up with Gabriel. If the shoe fits, I reply, giving her an innocent smile. Aishling chuckles, hooks her arm through mine, and leads us back to the Russos. Gabriel takes us to his friend's B&B across the street, where at least one of us will spend the night.